Hello, friends, and welcome back to Stories About Entitled People. Our first story today features Ted, a nosy coworker who thought privacy rules didn't apply to him. He snooped in offices, spread gossip, and once handed out his colleague's personal number to their toxic mother. But before we begin, best way to support our channel is to leave comments, like, and subscribe with the turned-on bell so you don't miss the new video every single day. Here we go. Screw you! Screw this job! The downfall of a nosy coworker. My mother is an extremely awful person I'm glad I have nothing to do with anymore, but this is about Ted, a coworker I used to have when I was in college and working part-time in a warehouse. Unlike me, Ted was a full-time employee, but he didn't act like it. We were about the same age, though. Ted was a snoop. He loved gossip, and he loved to look for things. Ted also spent long periods in the bathroom listening to his MP3 just to avoid working. The first time he got written up was for bringing XXX material to work and reading it out in the open while on break. He called it BS and said our manager was a prude. But no one else sided with him about it. The second time Ted got written up, it was because he gave my cell phone number to my mother. She called my job pretending to be my girlfriend, and Ted gave her the number without question. How did he get it? All employees had their numbers written down by the manager. Most of the employees were part-timers like me, and employee turnover rates were high, so the manager had all our numbers written down at the ready to call someone in to take over a shift when needed, which was surprisingly often. I wouldn't call the manager an unpleasant guy, but he kept everyone at arm's length. Anyway, Ted gave my mother my first cell phone number, and she immediately used it to start calling and harassing me. Oh, he got in trouble for it when I complained to the boss, because it was in the rules you're not allowed to give out any personal information of your coworkers. Ted actually blamed the write-up he got for it on me and claimed I should have warned him. I pointed out that if I had a girlfriend, then she'd already have my number. She wouldn't need to ask a stranger for it. Ted gave me attitude and stopped talking with me at all after that. Ted got fired a few months later after being caught snooping in the manager's office again, which he'd been forbidden from entering. He made a big show of yelling, "Screw you! Screw this job!" when he grabbed his backpack and ran out. I saw him again about a year later in the area working for a landscaping service. I rode by on my bike and slowed down when I saw him working a lawnmower. He didn't seem to recognize me, but I recognized him. Giving out your phone number was a serious breach, especially knowing your relationship with your mother. And worse, he acted like you were the problem. People like that tend to sabotage themselves because they can't see how their actions affect others. His firing wasn't surprising. It was the end of a pattern he kept repeating. And our second story. He believed the law firm owed him a throne. I handed him a pink slip. I'm an attorney, and yes, I'm young for my position. I work my butt off to get where I am, but the legal field is still full of people who think seniority equals unquestioned authority. Enter our newly hired senior attorney. He was older, much older, late 60s, close to retirement age, and already visibly struggling with the idea that his supervising attorney was 25 years younger than him. To his credit, he pretended to tolerate it, but the crack showed fast. Not with me at first, but with the support staff. He talked to the paralegals and legal assistants like they were his personal servants instead of trained professionals with decades of experience. The sense of entitlement was radiating off him like bad cologne. His favorite target? Our senior paralegal. My paralegal. She's been doing this work longer than I've been alive, and she is the backbone of our department. She's respected by everyone. Except this man who decided she should be typing up his handwritten notes because he should not have to use a legal assistant given his seniority. Every morning he'd march into her office with a stack of scribbles and command her to transcribe these. Not ask, command. One day I overheard him call her girl. I stepped in immediately. I told him very calmly, "Do not call her that again. She does not work for you. If you need anything from support staff, you run it through me." He looked offended. How dare I, the young attorney, stop him from treating people like the help? But of course he kept doing it, and it got worse. Turns out not only was he condescending, he was also catastrophically technologically inept. Anything beyond opening an email was a personal crisis. HR eventually forced a firm-wide refresher training on basic tech protocols because of him. We're talking how to attach documents, how to use the case management software, how to convert PDFs. It was a mandatory meeting for everyone. He fell asleep. Not a little head bob, full-on, closed eyes, chin to chest, snoring lightly level sleep. During a meeting that he is the entire reason we had to schedule. I called him out in front of everyone. Go splash water on your face and wake up. He shuffled out like a scolded toddler, came back and, get this, after the meeting said to me, "Well, I thought that meeting was really for the girls." The girls, meaning our paralegals, our legal assistants, the people who keep this firm running. I asked him point blank, "Do you know how disrespectful that is?" He shrugged. Actually shrugged. Their support staff. Technology is more their domain. I don't do that type of work. Oh, but apparently he does do the type of work where he bosses around everyone below him like he's running his own private law plantation. That conversation is what made it clear he wasn't going to improve. He wasn't going to listen. He wasn't going to treat people with basic respect. So this morning, I fired him. He was horrified, outraged. He kept repeating that his seniority wasn't being appreciated, that he had worked too hard for too long to do his own clerical tasks, that he deserved his own associate to boss around. And then he really said the quiet part out loud. "I'm not used to answering to someone like you." Someone like me, i.e. someone younger, someone female, someone not invested in his outdated ego trip. I reminded him, very simply, if you were as good as you think you are, you wouldn't be looking for a job in your late 60s. Was it snarky? Absolutely. Was it deserved? Every syllable. He packed his things and left in a huff, muttering about how the legal field has lost its respect for seniority. No, it lost its patience for arrogance, misogyny, and dead weight. Meanwhile, I'm taking the girls, the brilliant, hardworking women he disrespected, out for drinks tonight because they deserve the appreciation he refused to give. Good riddance to the man who thought the world owed him a secretary, a throne, and a younger lawyer to bow to him. We'll be just fine without him. The office already feels lighter. His parting shot, "I'm not used to answering to someone like you," was the truest thing he said. He wasn't used to answering to competence over cronyism, to merit over mere years logged, to a leader who protects their team instead of exploiting them. And our next story. A small favor. My coworker demanded $500 from my tax refund. Y'all, my coworker has officially lost her mind. So last week I got my tax refund, about $3,000 back, which was already the highlight of my month. On top of that, I'd won $2,000 on stake a few days earlier, so all told I was sitting on $5,000. Sounds great, right? Except this wasn't fun money. I'd already planned to use it for a security deposit and moving expenses for a new apartment. You know, adult things, responsible things. Somehow this information made its way around the office because apparently people can't mind their own business. I told one person about it in passing. We were talking about apartment hunting and I mentioned my refund, and like clockwork, within 2 days the entire office knew. Suddenly everyone's making little comments like, "Wow, look at Moneybags over here," or "Hey, you buying lunch for the team now?" All jokes, but you know how it goes. Jokes that start to feel a little too pointed. Then came the real kicker. My desk neighbor, who I'll call Lisa, walks over one morning with this suspiciously sweet tone in her voice. "Hey," she says, leaning on my cubicle like we're besties plotting a heist, "can I ask you for a small favor?" I should have known right then. Nothing good ever starts with that sentence. She continues, "So I'm short on cash for my upcoming trip, and I was wondering if you could lend me $500, just until next paycheck." I blinked. "You mean $500 as in $1,000?" She nodded, all smiles. "Yeah, because you just got all that money back from taxes anyway." "Yo, that's literally my money. The government held hostage for a year. This isn't a lottery win. It's not extra. It's mine. Reclaimed." So I told her as politely as I could, "Sorry, I can't. That money's already spoken for." Immediately, her tone changed. The smile disappeared and the guilt trip began. "Wow," she said, crossing her arms. "I thought we were friends. It's just a loan. I'd totally pay you back. You make way more than me anyway. It's not like you'd even miss it." Excuse me? What part of no was unclear? I just stared at her and said, "Lisa, I'm not your bank. I don't lend out money, especially not for vacations." She huffed, muttered something under her breath about people being selfish, and stomped back to her desk. I thought that was the end of it until lunch break rolled around. Suddenly, people are giving me side eye in the break room. One coworker even said, "I heard you wouldn't help Lisa out. That's kind of cold, don't you think?" Turns out Lisa had gone full-blown gossip mode, telling everyone I was being greedy with my windfall. Let's get this straight. A tax refund is not a windfall. It's not bonus money from the universe. It's money I already earned that I finally got back after filing literal paperwork with the government. The way she was talking, you'd think I hit the Mega Millions jackpot and refused to share it. I'm still not sure what's worse. Did she ask me in the first place, or that she genuinely thought I'd say yes? Like, what kind of audacity does it take to look someone in the eye and say, "You don't need it, give it to me"? Especially for something as trivial as a Cancun vacation? And the funniest part, later that afternoon, she tried to play nice again, all smiles, asking if I'd changed my mind yet. I told her, nope. And for future reference, I don't mix money and work friendships, ever. She rolled her eyes and muttered, "Guess I know who my real friends are." Yes, Lisa, the real friends are the ones who don't treat your bank account like a community fund. Honestly, this whole thing just proves why I keep my finances to myself. People will twist your normal life updates into entitlement fuel the second they think you have something they don't. I'm half expecting her to put up a GoFundMe next titled, "Help me go on vacation. My greedy coworker won't share." For now, I'm keeping my head down, locking my wallet tight, and counting the days until I move. With my money, not hers, because apparently being responsible is now considered selfish. Wild times, truly. The gossip campaign afterward just proves she's projecting her broke behavior onto everyone else. The best revenge is letting her stew in her own drama while you move out. Financially stable and unbothered. And our last story. My mom let her boyfriend's kids take over my basement apartment. Big mistake. When my dad died, I was 3, and my grandparents let my mom and me live in one of their houses rent-free. It wasn't a mansion, but it was comfortable, and when I turned 10, my grandfather renovated the entire basement into a mini apartment. I had my own bathroom, a tiny kitchenette, a living room, and, my favorite, my dad's old recliner. It became the one place in the world that was truly mine. For years, I stayed down there while my mom lived her life upstairs. She dated casually, nothing serious, and whenever she had someone over, I'd go to my grandparents' main house to avoid the awkwardness. The basement gave me independence without actually leaving home. Then last year, she met Dan. Things got serious fast. Within a few months, he'd moved in with his 2 kids, 13-year-old Molly and 11-year-old Evan. I wasn't against it. My mom deserved some happiness, and there were 3 bedrooms upstairs, enough for everyone. I figured nothing about my life would really change. I was wrong. One afternoon after they moved in, the kids asked where I stayed, and when I mentioned the basement, their faces flipped from curiosity to envy. They joked about me living in Mom's basement. But once they came down and saw the space, the jealousy turned sharper. They commented nonstop on how unfair it was that I had so much room. It didn't take long for them to start acting like they were entitled to it. My mom began dropping hints, quiet ones at first, about turning the basement into a shared family area. She mentioned that I spent a lot of time there, that everyone could use the space, and that my TV would be perfect for movie nights. Each time I told her no, and each time she pushed harder. Things escalated when I started locking my basement door after school. I only did it because I noticed the kids trying to wander down uninvited, and I wasn't about to let anyone treat my room like a public lounge. My mom had a copy of the key, but she'd never abused it before. That changed quickly. One afternoon, I came home and immediately noticed the door unlocked. When I walked downstairs, Molly and Evan were sitting comfortably on my couch, eating snacks I'd bought with my own money. My bedroom door was open, lights on, drawers moved. They'd gone through my things without hesitation. I didn't yell at first. I just told them they needed to leave. They refused. They acted like I didn't have the authority to kick them out of my own apartment. That was the moment everything snapped. I told my mom what happened, expecting her to shut it down, but she took their side instantly. She claimed the basement was part of the house and that the kids had every right to use it when they wanted. She told me that a family shares space, that I shouldn't hog such a large area, and that I needed to think about everyone, not just myself. When I reminded her that the basement was created for me specifically, she brushed it off and insisted it didn't matter. I packed a bag and called my grandfather. He and my uncle were at the house within 20 minutes, walking straight to the basement to help me load up everything important, including my dad's recliner. When my mom tried to argue, he cut her off and told her plainly that if I wasn't living there, she would start paying rent. No exceptions, no negotiations. I moved in with my grandparents that night. The fallout was predictable. My mom accused me of overreacting, claimed she was trying to blend the families, and insisted that I owed Dan and his kids more patience. She kept saying the same line, "You need to grow up." I pointed out that I had been living like an adult until she let 2 kids invade my space without permission. My grandparents weren't fooled. They admitted they never wanted Dan and his kids to move in, but they tolerated it because I lived there too. Once my space was violated and she refused to respect it, their patience evaporated. Now my mom pays rent she can't afford, Dan isn't contributing, and she's realizing that the man she uprooted her life for is perfectly happy letting her drown financially. I miss my basement apartment, but not enough to go back. And I still have my dad's recliner. I'm glad you're standing firm, because your mother has absolutely no right to your living area, your things, your snacks, etc. They were provided to you from your grandparents, not from her. Unfortunately, some people can't be reasoned with, as you found out. You're probably going to find yourself going low contact when you're an adult. That's okay. You can love her from a distance and not become the person who supplies the deficits in her life. She's an adult. She should pay her own way, not steal from her daughter. Hey guys, thank you all for watching the video. I'll see you in the next one.